Ever slipped on a worn cotton tee and instantly recalled the thrill of an epic concert, the roar of the crowd echoing in your ears? Band T-shirts of the 70s were more than clothing. They were wearable memories, each one holding the energy of a summer night, spent swaying under colored stage lights with friends. That familiar, soft fabric, just slightly faded, carried stories. The pulse of bass you felt in your chest, incense drifting through the stadium, the joy of belting every lyric at the top of your lungs. Wearing your favorite band's logo was a silent handshake between strangers, a badge that connected rockers, rebels, and dreamers long before social media. These shirts documented personal journeys through America's changing landscape. Each hole or frayed edge witnessed new music, new love, and an era's bold expression. Do you still have that one tee you just can't throw away? One that somehow smells like freedom and possibility? Join us as we remember the music, the mood, and the meaning behind the band tees that turned a simple garment into a timeless piece of our individual histories. Let's turn back the clock to the early 1970s, a time when stadium concerts were exploding in popularity and America's collective pulse beat to the rhythm of rock and roll. This was a decade of transformation, both in music and in fashion. But before band T-shirts became universal symbols of personal identity, the humble cotton tee was largely practical, with origins tied to the military and workwear. So how did this simple garment evolve into the signature emblem of rock fans everywhere? If you were a teenager in the late 1960s, chances are your T-shirts were plain white, maybe adorned with a college logo or a clever saying if you were feeling adventurous. The idea of an entire band immortalized in bright ink across your chest was still years away. Concerts themselves were also different back then. Smaller venues, fewer pyrotechnics, and limited merchandise. Hard to believe now, isn't it? In fact, early concert merch might have meant a program or a button at most, and these items were often poorly made or carried only by devoted fans who hung around stage doors. The pivotal moment, the true dawn of the band T-shirt, arrived as a convergence of several cultural shifts. Music, fashion, and youth rebellion started blending into something bigger than any single concert. The Woodstock Festival of 1969 planted the first seeds of mass rock gatherings, but it was the relentless arena tours of the early 70s that really made custom T-shirts possible. Major acts like Led Zeppelin, the Rolling Stones, and Aerosmith were suddenly filling stadiums coast to coast, drawing tens of thousands of fans. With those crowds came new opportunities and new demands. People wanted more than souvenirs. They wanted a lasting connection to the music and the moment. Here's a fact you might not know. The first mass-produced band T-shirts were mostly the brainchild of enterprising roadies and bootleggers. Large-scale official merch tables were rare until the mid-70s. Before that, a lot of shirts were homemade affairs. A parent or friend might cut stencils or iron on felt letters for you, or you'd buy a cheap, unauthorized tee in the parking lot before the show. Some of these makeshift shirts are now among the most valuable collectibles today, precisely because so few survived. Can you remember buying a band T-shirt from a trunk out back, or maybe pressing your own heat-transfer decal in the garage on a Saturday afternoon? As rock bands grew savvier, the official tour T-shirt became the standard. Forward-thinking managers spotted an opportunity. If fans wanted to wear their loyalty, why not meet the demand head-on? By 1973-74, you couldn't go to a major concert without seeing a table lined with a rainbow of options, posters, scarves, and of course, the all-important T-shirt. Some bands, like Pink Floyd and The Who, even hired dedicated design teams to dream up striking graphics that now define the era. One surprising detail: the classic black concert tee, that rite of passage for so many teens, wasn't always a given. early shirts were just as likely to be white, yellow, or even tie-dyed, blending the hippie sensibilities of the late 60s with the new, louder, bolder look of 70s rock. Those first shirts were screen-printed by hand, often in small batches, leading to misprints or off-register designs that fans now treasure as rare finds. Did you ever have a shirt with a print that was just a little crooked, a reminder that each one was unique, made by real hands rather than machines? It wasn't just the music that inspired this evolution. The late 60s and early 70s were catalysts for social change: civil rights, the Vietnam War, second-wave feminism, and the T-shirt became a silent protest, a mobile billboard for your beliefs. Bands like Jefferson Airplane and Bob Dylan inspired T-shirts that blended political statements with album art, letting fans carry their ideals as boldly as their musical preferences. Wearing a band T-shirt wasn't simply a fashion choice, it could be a quiet act of defiance, a statement that you belonged to a tribe challenging the status quo. By the mid-1970s, the band T-shirt had become part of American fashion in a way no one could have foreseen. Department stores took notice, dedicating racks to concert tees, even for kids who'd never seen the band live. Suddenly, the same Stones logo that fluttered on a flag at a festival could show up in a classroom or on Main Street. The line between concert souvenir and everyday staple began to blur. Did you ever save up your allowance just to snag the latest shirt from your favorite band, even if you couldn't make it to the actual show? That feeling of holding new music in your hands, whether it was a vinyl record or the shirt to match, felt like holding a piece of the era itself. Yet, for all their popularity, band T-shirts still carried a certain subversive mystique. Schools debated whether they were appropriate, especially when album art got risque or lyrics pushed boundaries. Some shirts were banned outright, which only made them more coveted. You might not believe this, but in the late 70s, several school boards across the country attempted to outlaw concert tees featuring groups like Kiss and AC/DC, claiming they were corrupting youth or promoting dangerous ideas. Of course, this just made those shirts all the more precious for the kids who managed to sneak them through. From their early days as rough and ready souvenirs to their ascent as cultural icons, band T-shirts in the 70s captured more than fandom. They became physical pieces of the era's spirit. Each crease, each crack in the ink told a new story. Do you remember which was your very first band T-shirt? Did it carry a memory, a summer romance, a best friend's laugh, the first time you heard your favorite song played live? The evolution, from humble merch, Stan novelty to badge of belonging, sets the stage for one of the most innovative periods in pop culture fashion. But as the decade marched on, it wasn't just about wearing the band, it was also about how the shirts themselves changed and evolved, reflecting advances in technology, art, and production methods. Just imagine the stories embedded in every stitch. Want to know how a simple tee went from basic cotton to eye-popping, full-color masterpieces, and what surprising inventions made that transformation possible? That's exactly what we'll explore next as we head into the world of printing evolution and the rise of iconic designs. As we reflect on the journey of band T-shirts through the 1970s, it's easy to see why they hold such a cherished spot in our memories and our wardrobes. During those unforgettable years, they transformed from simple, practical shirts to vibrant symbols of loyalty, rebellion, and personal taste. Whether you bought your first tee at a makeshift stand outside the local auditorium or treasured one passed down from an older sibling, these shirts became tangible souvenirs of a time when music wasn't just something we listened to, it was something we lived. Each shirt carried more than just a logo or a date. It bore the marks of late-night road trips with friends, the scent of summer air at outdoor stadiums, and the electric pulse of your favorite guitar solo played live. For so many of us, slipping on a band t-shirt meant joining a living, breathing community. We recognized each other in hallways, record shops, and city streets, a silent nod that said, "You get it too." The images and fonts on those shirts left indelible impressions: the outstretched tongue of the Rolling Stones, the ethereal prism of Pink Floyd, or the wild energy of a Led Zeppelin airship. And as the decade went on, these humble tees didn't just document musical favorites, they charted new friendships and personal milestones. Remember the feeling of saving up just enough to buy the shirt from your very first big concert, or how proudly you wore it to school the next day, already imagining the next great live show? Even now, decades later, many of us still tuck those old shirts away, soft with age and bursting with memories too precious to part with. Yet it's not just about the music or the fabric. Band t-shirts of the 70s became part of something larger, symbols of changing times and growing voices. They captured the energy of youth, reflected shifting styles, and told the world a little piece of who we were. Even if our tastes or wardrobes have evolved, the emotions behind those shirts remain. They remind us of the thunderous applause, the thrill of camaraderie, the shared anticipation as house lights dimmed, and of the era when each concert felt like the event of a lifetime. What stories do your old band tees still tell? What moments in your life are stitched into those faded seams and cracked prints? Now, it's your turn to join the conversation. Which band's t-shirt from the 70s do you remember most fondly? And what memories are woven into your favorite one? Share your stories in the comments below. We'd love to hear about the music, the friendships, and the adventures that accompanied your cherished shirts. If you enjoyed this nostalgic look back, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more journeys into the moments and mementos that shaped us. And if you know someone who'd appreciate a trip down this memory lane, be sure to share it with them. Let's spread these good memories far and wide. There are many more stories from our past waiting to be rediscovered together in the videos ahead. So the next time you find that old t-shirt tucked away in a drawer, creases and all, take a moment to remember the music that moved you and the friends who made those times special. In every thread and faded print, there's a concert, a summer, and a piece of our youth that still sings.